the first time I wrestled Beth, her finisher, she hooks your arms and then like face plants you. Well, she didn't unhook my arms. Ended up giving me a concussion. I didn't sell it. I'm not going to let you know that you did anything. And I actually let it go. And then years after that, in the WWE magazine, she made a comment about it. I was like, oh, so she did know what she did. Okay. Still no biggie. We still had to work these storylines. She didn't really enjoy working myself and Layla, I don't think. But I guess just a couple weeks ago on Twitter, people posted that finish where it's like, I think it was in relation to the coronavirus because my head's hitting the mat. It's one of those deals like coronavirus has me like, boom, boom. And so that led to a lot of people asking, well, again, I can keep my mouth, like I'm all about, if I know somebody, if I have an issue, I'm going to ask you out of respect, out of love, in a loving way. I'll ask you. Well, I guess her answer was to everybody that was saying, why didn't you unhook her arms? Her answer was, there's more to the story, or there's two sides to the story or something. And I was like, oh, I'd like to know, like, what are the sides of the story? So I liked a few messages, and, people don't miss anything. I was kind of like, I would like to know. Radio silence. I reached out personally, not on social media, not to blast it to millions and millions of fans. Basically saying, I would love to know the rest of the story. Like, I don't know what happened. What the heck happened? Like, I just assumed. But my issue is when people put stuff out there, it seems a little calculated. Like, you're putting it out there insinuating that I've got something to hide or I've done something, which there's a lot of people, again, going back to what we talked about, that see a lot of other women as gods. But because I date Mark, they hate on me so much. So I think when she put that out there, there's two sides to the story. It was kind of, she's a smart girl. She knew what she was doing. Yeah. So I asked, and I didn't get anything for several days. And then I got a response that basically said, we should be so grateful and supporting women and this, that, and the other. And again, I shoot from the hip, and I was like, bottom line, I still never got the other side of the story. So I don't know what it is, but I asked personally. Growing up watching it, I was watching Raw one night, and I think it was I know it was 2004 when reality TV just started kind of getting big, and so they had that diva search. But I was watching it, and I was like watching it with a friend, and he goes, and the commercial came on, like $250,000 diva search. Do you want to be the next diva? I didn't really think about it, but the guy goes, there's your chance, Michelle, but you won't do it. And I hate more than anything being told I won't or I can't. Yeah. And like, I want to prove people wrong. I'm probably not going to tell you I'm doing it in case I fail. Then you won't know. And I realize that's a whole nother issue. But said, you won't do it. I was like, okay. Went to the local park where I used to run some. Took pictures, like so not professional. Had no idea what I was doing. Sent them in, and then they called. And I remember I was at the beach visiting my parents, and I got a phone call, and I saw Stamford, Connecticut. And I was like, I was too nervous to answer. I'm like, they'll leave a voicemail. So I didn't answer. So they left a voicemail, and I picked it up, and they told me, you've been selected to come to New York City, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I told my parents, and that was that. Like, I still literally was teaching school, took off, went to New York City, did this whole, it was this huge cattle call, hundreds and hundreds of girls. And like I said, they chose 2 of us, and the rest, I didn't win it, obviously, but I got a contract. And so the rest is history. It's crazy. It was just one of those things that you don't think, because I come from such a small town. Yeah. Sometimes people leave, but they always come back. Yeah. And that's just kind of how it is. So I didn't really think like it would happen, but it dang sure did. Well, one, it was just, I was the only girl for a while. And then there was one other girl for almost the whole time I was there. So it was me and another girl named Angel Williams, and nothing but guys. And it was more of, it wasn't teaching so much. It was more, let me see what you can take, literally. Like stuff that just, you could have gotten hurt easily, stuff that didn't make sense. We're carrying logs in a parking lot for conditioning. We're standing on the top rope doing squats while people are hitting the rope. Like, it was just kind of like more mentality. Let me see how mentally tough you are, which, again, I like to prove people wrong. I had no problem with it. I'm going to show them.
So, and correct me here with timelines and you know, where I mess up on this, but it seems like the female wrestling at this time, you know, it seems like back in the 70s and 80s, female wrestling's been around for quite a while, and it was very in the ring wrestling. Then in the 90s, you had over in WCW, you had Nitro Girls, and WWE ends up, you know, in the Attitude Era. It was very, you know, my mom didn't like me watching it.
I know, you're like,
yeah, and it was, you know, lingerie, and it almost felt like, let's see how far we can go with this.
Yeah.
When you came in, was that at the moment where Vince McMahon was like, there's a lot of talent here, and we believe that we can put them in the ring, and there's going to be a viewership that's not just about, let's see how close we can get to them being naked. We're gonna. What was the locker room?
No, we were still pretty naked doing bikini matches. So I came in at the time, where it was more. Yeah, it was more about looks, and it was more about just get out there, be cute, pull hair, cat fight type stuff, and that's what we fought so hard against, because man, I hated that stuff. Yeah, like, we can do so much more. And he's like, but that's what the fans want. That's what WWE Universe wants. And so I kind of was in a weird transition, you know, of what the girls were doing, because you had Trish and Lita, who did some of the TNA stuff, but they were also wrestling and getting to do some cool matches. And then after the Diva Search, it was kind of went back to, you know, dance competitions and bikini this and bikini that. And I mean, we just had to fight week in, week out to be able to do anything to show our talent. And back then, you know, the fans, I think they kind of use us as an excuse. They always say, you know, they use us as bathroom breaks. Well, they didn't give us a chance like they do now, which is great. But we were just in that weird transition period. It just, towards the end of my career, we started getting to do a little bit more. But even then, some matches we got in trouble for how we wrestled, looking too much like the guys. So there were several instances where one time Victoria and I did a match, came back, changed, getting ready to leave the building, and a referee comes in. Vince wants y'all to go back out and do the match because y'all's punches look better than the guys. We're like, we thought somebody was ribbing us. We thought, you've got to be kidding. Sure as heck. We had to go back out there, do the match. It was crazy.
I mean, this was 10, 12 years ago. I mean, this was long ago. So that's, you know, talking to Mark after WrestleMania 36, I told him, I said, I felt like the women stole the show.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did and AJ did, I thought was really, really cool to start with. But I think that when it came to just wrestling, I think Charlotte Flair's match was as
it was good.
As old school as it can get. I loved and she reminded me a lot of her dad in that match. She worked on the leg, you know, that 30 minutes. And
people think we're lying when we say literally we were given 2 minutes for matches. So we're like, what do you want us to do? There was one WrestleMania. It was me, and it was a WrestleMania where Layla and I had to wrestle Trish and Snooki. It was a mixed tag match. I don't know if you saw that one. That was an interesting build up. Anyway, before we were going out in the curtain, they literally said, okay, when you get into the ring, and this was Johnny Laurinaitis again, he said, when you get into the ring, you'll have to go home. That means finish the match. We're like, wait, how do you do that? You go into the ring and you want us to go home? Like, what is happening here? And I remember Trish just said, look, I'm coming back. It's like, you know, she's a legend. She's coming back. It's the old saying, what can they do? Fire me. You know, she's like, just listen to me. We'll get through it. I was like, okay. But it was crazy. We had to fight and claw for everything we got. Okay. I'd say favorite match had to be, sorry, I'm getting reset up here. Favorite match had to be the tables match. Me and Layla versus Natty and Beth. And I think the only reason, well, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons is because it was the first ever. Like, I remember them telling us that day, hey, y'all are going to have a tables match. You and Layla are going through the table. And we were like, and Fit Finley, who was the best ever, and he trained all the girls. And he's such a big jokester. We're like, stop it. Like, that is not even funny. Like, quit messing with us like that. But lo and behold, it was true. We had the tables match. It was great. It hurt, which was also great. But I think that was my favorite because we probably only had 10 minutes, which felt like eternity for us at the time. But it was a table match, and it hadn't been done. So I think that was my favorite.
Was that the first time you actually got to kind of show your talents in the ring for a good amount of time?
I felt like that was more so that they were just kind of trusting us with something bigger. Like, I feel like we've gotten to show our talents, which is why they gave us that opportunity, you know? So it felt good. I think that was the best part, that they trusted us to do it. I do know, I'll never forget, earlier in the day, one of the props guys made the comment to, I don't know if it was Vince or who it was, said, you know, do you think they're heavy enough to go through the table? And Fit was like, yeah, there's two of them. Like, there's two of them. Surely they're going to go through the table. Well, I don't know if you've seen that match, but Natty hits us off the ring. We hit the table. We don't break the table. We're like, oh, crap. We didn't weigh enough together. And so she had to climb back up and jump again, and it broke. But, ooh, hitting that table without it giving, ooh, that didn't tickle.
Not fun.
No.